have seen a film called Stuart Little, about a human family that adopts a mouse. But if you've read the book that film is based on, you'll see that that's not quite what it's about. The book says he was born to human parents, their second baby just 2 inches tall, with all the features and characteristics of a mouse, but it never says that he's a mouse at all. 'Cause Stuart Little's not a mouse, he's a mutant human baby with a mouse-like physique. Yeah, Stuart Little's not a mouse, he's our favorite rodent-human hybrid freak. He's our favorite rodent-human hybrid freak.
What's up, nerd family? Welcome once again to the Poindexter Lounge. My name is Enosh, aka Enosh Fett, and it is good to have you with me in the lounge today. And look, if this is your first time to the lounge, just know that the Poindexter Lounge is a place for nerds. It's a place where you and me and my friends, meaning all of you, can get together and talk about all the things that we love. Things like TV shows, movies, games, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books, superheroes, toys, music, funny stuff. Hey, whatever. You know what? We do it all here on the Poindexter Lounge. And if those are things that get you up in the morning, that get you scrolling through your internet, through your TikTok, and through everything else, trying to find something that's funny to get your day going, then hey, you found the right place. And so we would love to have you here and be a part of this growing community of nerds. And so please hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so that you know when we put out new videos, because we're constantly putting out new content. And we just want you to watch it. Really, that's all we really ask. We're not asking that much. We just want you to be around when we put it out, because otherwise, I'm staring at a wall and nobody is paying attention. But hey, you guys are really great. For those of you guys who are around, I can't be more thankful in any way for what you guys do here at the channel. You guys are a great community of people, and I'm thankful for all of you. Now, that being said, today is a special day here at the Poindexter Lounge, because I bring you a treat. And I know that a lot of you guys are going to like this, because it's come up so much. He's come up so much here in the last few weeks. That is, of course, Jordan from Itskeyes on TikTok. I've shared with you guys a lot of his videos, and we've had some fun with that, and you know, doing his drops and things like that. A lot of you guys know I've been playing, you know, like the Lunch Trench and you know, the ET song and like some of these other things, and you guys have loved it. And it's got enough of a response, even from my panels and everything else. I mean, we even got you guys. Everybody knows Dawson, my good friend Dawson here, and we've teased Dawson here, and we'll talk to Jordan about this a little bit. But we've teased Dawson, if I can find his picture here in my thing. Yeah, we teased Dawson that about this guy, and and Dawson even sang one of his songs, sang the toaster song about blowing up my toaster, like live, like just figured it out and like did it because well, we said Dawson kind of looks like this guy. So but we're just having fun today, and I reached out to Jordan, and Jordan was gracious enough to come on the channel. And so, ladies and gentlemen, will you welcome with me for the first time to the lounge, hopefully not the last, because I'd like to have this guy around. He's a pretty cool guy, like right off the bat, just getting to know him in the backstage. Really good guy. And so, ladies and gentlemen, welcome with me, Jordan Itskeyes. Welcome to the Poindexter Lounge, sir.
Hey, it's so good to be here.
You know, I figured I would invite you on because I saw, you know, one of your videos talks about how like you don't really want to be super famous. You just want to get on all the podcasts that you like. And so I figured you probably have no idea who we are, but you know, hopefully by the end of the day, this is one of the podcasts you like. And then you can say, hey, I made it on that one before I even knew I liked him.
Exactly. Look, I'm for it. I'm getting on all these podcasts. I'm sharpening my chops. I'm getting better. I think this is the first official podcast I've been on since interview thing that I've done since I made that video. So thank you for being the first to really get me started on my journey. I appreciate that.
Oh, well, you know, we do what we can here, Jordan. I tell you what, we want to give back as it were.
Look at you guys. So sweet. So sweet. Thank you.
Yeah, and to that, everybody says a big, "Oh yeah, we want to get him off on the right path there." Yeah. Hey man, it is good to have you here, Jordan.
Thank you.
Like I said, we've joked a lot just listening to your content, man, and people just loved it, and that's why I was just like, man, the other day I was just like, man, I got to reach out to him. I gotta see if we can get him on the channel, because we play your stuff enough, we promote you enough.
Yeah,
I was like,
you.
either you're gonna like issue a cease and desist and hit me for copyright, or or I'm
Well,
gonna have you on the
actually,
channel, make you a friend.
My lawyer is here. Actually, I was going to put him on. So thank you. We'll have that talk as after after the interview. Don't worry about it. But he's just got some things to iron out with you. Okay.
Okay. All right, sure. Hey man, no, but it is good to have you, man. It is
Thank you.
really good to have
Thank
you. You have we were talking beforehand, I know you from TikTok. I know you have a YouTube channel as well.
A very unpopular YouTube channel, but it is a YouTube channel nonetheless.
Well, but I think you're moving up in the world. I just I discovered you through TikTok, and as we were talking about a little bit before, TikTok is a weird platform, right? It's a really weird platform. There is a lot of just junk and filler and just girls dancing and crazy stuff on there. But I have discovered that there are a lot of talented people doing some cool stuff on TikTok.
Oh, absolutely.
And you, my friend, are definitely one of those that stood out to me. Like I told you, and I've shared on the channel before, your ET song about the sequel to ET, the book that was written, like that was the first video that I saw of yours. And it just resonated with me because nobody I know remembers that book. I had that book growing up, and I bought it like at school at like the book fair or whatever, because it was like, oh, ET, ET.
Just like the movie I love, and then it's nothing like the movie you love.
And I love because like I said, we're here at the Poindexter Lounge, we're a place for nerds. I mean, that's why it's in the name, the whole shebang. But I love the fact that like you cite the book, like you actually have in your video, like where you pull up like the passage. Your stuff is smart and funny.
Yes. Well, I graduated with a journalism degree, so I'm all about citing my sources. I'm all about making sure I have as much information to back me up as possible. I don't always get it right, but when I don't get it right, I do try to correct it from there, because I'm obsessed with trying to, I don't want any fake news out there, okay? I want all the real news coming from me, okay?
We don't want any fake news about Itskeyes. We just want
no fake news about Itskeyes, no fake news about 40-year-old book sequels, nothing.
Now you seem like a young guy, so I mean, like, how I guess jumping into this, like I hear you talk about some stuff sometimes that, like, I don't know, like it seems like you are pretty well read. I mean, because like you're doing songs about Forrest Gump. And the sequel. I think you got a theme going on with like books about sequels to stuff.
It's a rich vein to mine, as it were. I mean, I love to read. I was a voracious reader in elementary school, middle school. It tapered off in high school and college, and I'm kind of like coming back into reading more these days. But I love that, and I'm a guy who likes to know a little bit about a lot of stuff. Like I have a Jeopardy level knowledge of things, in that I there's a lot of topics I like to pick through, but I'm also far too ADD to dig too deep into any one of them. So a lot of the songs just come from like, I read a list of like weird sequels, or I read this a think piece about, you might think you know what this universe is, but here's some parts of it that are strange and that you will not understand. And so it's kind of just a mishmash of things that I like, books that I genuinely read, or movies that I love to watch, or shows, things like that. And then also just weird facts that are rattling around, or that, and now, since that's sort of become a brand of sorts of a branch of a thing that I do, people suggest things to me. And so that's cool for me, because it's like, oh, a new thing that I don't know about. Let me go dig into this. And usually it is pretty weird. And usually there's something to be like, okay, there's I can do something with that. And then sometimes it's like, well, okay, that's it's kind of weird, but not weird enough to write a whole song about. So we'll see if I can like smash that into something else, but we'll put that to the side for now.
That's great, man. That's because that's how I am too. I mean, I just people are like always commenting to me like, you know, it's like how do you know so much about like so many different things, right? You know, and
Yeah.
it's just because like, look, I read a lot as a kid, and I also watched a lot of TV, right? So like I just absorbed, you know, so much pop culture and just information on things where it's like people will tell me something sometime and I'm like, yeah, no, that's not true. Like I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Like
Yeah.
you know, like if you look at my
No,
I'm in a
really?
room.
You?
Yeah, I'm in a room full of toys, man. Like I have a house full of toys, you know,
Yeah.
and that's just how I roll. I often joke like I didn't set out to be this guy. I didn't seek this life. This life sought
Chose
me.
you. The thug life chose you. I get
Yep,
it.
the thug life chose me. And but it's funny because I'm like that too, man. People will tell me like, oh yeah, well I heard that so and so about a movie or whatever, and I'm like, nope, that never happened. And they're like, well, you don't know, and I'm like, yeah, no, I do. That's not a thing, you know.
It's not I know this thing, and I'm not trying to brag or flex on you because there's no way to brag and flex about my intimate knowledge of sequels to 80s movies. Like that's
Yes.
not a flex in any way, but I do have to let you know it's not it.
Right, exactly. Well, you know, but it's becoming that. Like it is actually becoming a thing. Like pop culture and nerd culture in general are it's so much different. Like I just rewatched with my family. I got three boys and my wife. And so I'm very blessed in the fact that like my wife is like a nerd just like me.
That's
You know what I
great.
mean? Like she's totally into this stuff. I mean, everybody always asks her like how can you deal with these like all these guys in your house who are just like dragging you around all this stuff. But like my wife, we love to go to like Comic Cons and stuff, and like
Nice.
she dresses up, so
Yeah.
like she's a big
That's awesome.
she's a big Harley Quinn fan, and so she does that. And we got two dogs. One's named Wookie, one's named Harley Quinn. And
Y'all are all in. I love
yeah,
it.
we are totally all like our house is just like people come over to our house and they're like, this is like a museum. You should like charge admission for this house. Because our living room is like instead of like curio cabinets like with little trinkets and stuff like that, we literally have cabinets with like old like Migos and like Back to the Future stuff, and and I mean just all kinds of crazy stuff, Ghostbusters and everything.
That's great.
So I really appreciate when I see people who they put the time in, they put the effort in and the work in, and that's what I think when I started hearing your stuff was that this is smart humor. I kind of told you before we started, there's we all know that there's a lot of lowest common denominator stuff out there.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, where people can it's easy to get a laugh if you're swearing, talking about sex, or a host of other things, right? And that's not to say that some of those things can't be funny,
of course,
but like I love it when somebody hits you like you do with something that you're like, what? Like for example, we play your Lunch Trench song, and like the first time I like the Lunch Trench isn't even a thing.
Yes, it's a place where a lot of people pull off the road to fish is where I filmed that video, and I was like, I don't like fishing. What would I do in that little alcove off of the highway?
It's so funny because like the first time I saw that, like I'm literally just laughing at this thing, and it's like it's not like
you
something that we know.
Smart humor. You say it's smart humor, and then it's also very dumb at the same time.
Yes,
I think we shouldn't pass over the fact that it is also incredibly dumb.
Yes.
Don't give me too much credit there.
No, but you know what I love about it is like it reminds me of stuff that like me and my friends did when I was younger. Okay. Cause like I'm getting up there now. Like I'm 44, and but the thing is like I don't feel like I'm 44.
No.
You know what I mean? And so the thing is that like I didn't have the technology, right, that we all have today and stuff,
Yeah.
and so like I remember like me and my friends, we used to have like a boom box, and we'd record like this stupid, silly, just skits and
Yeah.
funny stuff and everything. And it's so cool to see people nowadays, like they've got this technology that you can make videos like that. You can make these funny
Yeah.
things and make this stuff that pops into your head a reality and a
Mhm.
thing. And
And I think that is the cool thing about TikTok, especially. Like, there's YouTube also to a certain extent. TikTok and YouTube are, you can do it on your phone. Like, anybody can do it, and you can do it on your phone, and it has the opportunity to reach everyone, if
yes,
possibly. Like, because I mean, Facebook and Twitter and Instagram used to be that way. Now they're so heavily monetized, you really can't get
yeah,
you can't. I mean, it happens every once in a while, but it's so tough to build an audience if you're a content creator, especially an original content creator. Whereas TikTok, say all you want about, the cons of TikTok. One of the pros is that, like, it does not discriminate. It just shows people, and it
yep,
shows them your content. And sometimes it's not the right people, and so it's a roll of the dice, but it's better than, but you don't have to pay yet. I'm sure at some point down the road we'll have to pay
yeah,
$10 to boost your post or whatever. But
yeah,
for right now, it is a content focused platform rather than a, I'm sure they're already monetizing in different ways, but like, it is
yeah,
content first. And quality content, or even just content that people want to see, will generally get shown to people. And so you have to give props there where props are due. And I that's what I love about it. And it's also, it's a great place to see a bunch of different things that I didn't even know I was interested in.
yes,
Whereas, like, YouTube definitely shows me things I'm very interested in, and the algorithm's so good at targeting that. Whereas the TikTok algorithm shows me things where I'm like, I had no idea I cared about that, but now I
mhm,
care immensely and deeply, and I see how it's connected to the thing that I previously cared
yes,
about, but it's not the thing I cared about. And now I'm all in on this person talking about train technology, or
yeah.
sentence structure, or things
Yes.
like that. And it's like, all right, I'm in. I didn't know I was into it, but I'm in.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Jordan, because like YouTube, I've noticed YouTube has gotten to the point where it's like if I just look up something or I catch a video of something, it's like all of a sudden YouTube thinks that that's who I am.
Yeah. Yep.
And all of a sudden I get bombarded with all these videos about, whatever, like, like I'm a big nerd and I love, comic books and superheroes and all those things, but there's a lot of serious, things that I really like to catch up on. And,
Yeah.
and people here at the channel, they know, what I do for a living, that I'm a worship pastor, and I'm a pastor. And so I love things about theology and stuff. And I
Yeah.
love differing opinions. Right. So it's
Yeah.
like, just the other day, and it's funny you mentioned this because like just the other day, like I love to hear differing opinions. So like I watched this entire presentation from a guy who was an atheist. Now like YouTube thinks I'm an atheist.
Yeah.
It's like all of a sudden it's like every video in my suggested thing, is this, and I'm like,
Debunking
oh
God.
yeah. I was like, okay, yeah, but you're so right. Like, and TikTok is interesting too because like you said, you don't get so much of that. You're getting other things that you would have not normally sought out.
Hmm.
But all of a sudden, like every time I feel like I go to TikTok, as I'm scrolling through, it seems like I find something that I go,
Hmm.
oh, yeah. And I think it's cool because it forces, because of the time constraints of,
Hmm.
of TikTok, it forces you to do something, do it fast, get somebody's attention,
Yep. And
and
let it
then
move on.
yep. And then if I like what you're doing, like when I found you and I like that initial video, oh hey, I can go and see like what else is this guy doing?
Yeah.
Like what other stuff is this a one-off thing, or is
Hmm.
this like this guy's, thing? And
Yeah.
so finding that about you was really cool. But so Jordan, how, like tell us a little bit about you. Like how did you get started, like music, that kind of stuff in general?
Well, I come from a really musical family. My dad's a pastor. My grandfather was a choir director. Everybody in my family sings or plays an instrument, and so that was always just something that was around happening in my house. And so I was writing songs when I was, 5 or 6, and not great songs, but short songs that probably are maybe just slightly below the quality of what I'm writing at this point. So like I haven't progressed too much from 6 years old, but so that was always something I was interested in. Then I got really into rap. Because I don't have a traditionally good singing voice. I have slowly developed how to sing what I want to sing
Mhm.
in the range that I have. But I've always loved rap music, and I love that you don't have to be able to sing and you can express yourself in different ways. And so I've done a lot of like rap music. I was a battle rapper for a while. And I'm currently like my actual job outside of TikTok is, and I say outside of TikTok because I have barely made anything off of TikTok. My actual job is I'm in a hip hop improv comedy group, and
Oh,
so
wow.
it's like Whose Line Is It Anyway or Freestyle Love Supreme, but instead of comedians doing music, it's pretty much all guys who started doing music, like either rap music or singing or whatever, who then were like, okay, I'm pretty good at improvising. Let me learn how to do comedy with this. And
Oh,
so
that's awesome, man.
yeah, so it's we're called Free Daps. If you want to check it out, FREEDAPS. That's us. We do a ton of live shows. We haven't been making as much content because we've been trying to not be together as often due to the pandemic and everything.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
we also have a YouTube channel called Free Daps, and we do songs. We do freestyle games and like on the spot live interviews where we'll rap about people that we're interviewing and stuff like that. So that's my actual job. And
Wow.
but I've always been interested in creating songs and just musical comedy in general. Weird Al's a
Yeah.
huge influence.
Oh, dude, you're preaching to the choir right here when it comes to Weird Al. I
Yeah.
tell you what, I have told people, like, first of all, what you're doing is awesome. Like, I play in a rock band called Waking Vegas, but
Nice.
the thing is like part of that is I think people are have lost a lot of times the element of putting on a show.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
And I think that's why nowadays, like, it used to be like, if you just put up a sign that said, "Hey, we're having a concert," everybody came. Like, they were just like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, it's awesome." But then I think at some point it just got to be like, well, everybody's cousin and brother had a band,
Mm-hmm.
and you'd go and you just kind of watch people look like they're miserable with life, play a couple of songs,
Yeah.
and you're just like, "Oh man, this is brutal." And so, like, even in my band, even though like we play a bunch of serious stuff, like, because I love improv, I love doing that. Like, if I had another life, and I've even like reached out to people that I know, like, I've always wanted to put together an improv troupe because I love
Yeah.
doing that, and I get that. And so we, like, in my band, we'll do like improv stuff. We'll make up songs for people and, pull people out of the crowd and do stuff. So it's
That's great.
not like typical
Yeah.
rock band stuff, but we
Yeah.
do this stuff and we put on a show. And so I really love that you mentioned that you do, because I think that's so important as
Yeah.
if you're going to be successful
Mm-hmm.
and memorable to people
Yeah.
who come and see you. And so that's awesome. But you mentioned Weird Al, man. And I tell you what, Weird Al, I tell people all the time, and people laugh at me, but I tell them, you will never see a greater show than to see Weird Al Yankovic.
That's what I've heard, man. He's a bucket list for me. I haven't seen him yet. Because Orlando is weird because we're a big city, but we're about 5 or 6 hours out of the way of any convenient touring schedule.
Mhm.
So we might get the big artist, and we might not, depending on the tour. So I've just never gotten to see him, but I really, really, really want to see him because I've heard nothing but like amazing things about him as a performer.
I've seen him 3 times now, man. And when me and my wife, the very first date that we ever went on, I knew that, like, I had to take her to something to see, like, if she was going to be down with my nerddom.
Mhm.
And I took her to see Weird Al, and she loved it. And I was like, she's a keeper. She's a
That's
keeper.
great.
But I mean, like, seriously, people don't think about that, right? Like,
Yeah.
the amount of just the musicianship. He's got the same band,
Yep.
that he had when he started, and just the genres of music that they do. He's got a costume change for every song. They got multimedia stuff going on. So
Yeah.
when I hear somebody say that like Weird Al is part of their, group of people that kind of inspire them, like get them going. I just everything that you're saying right now, Jordan, like I'm just like, I like this guy more. I like this guy
Thank you.
more. I like this guy more.
I
That's
like
awesome.
you. Yeah, we're vibing. We're vibing
We're
right now.
totally vibing right now. That's
I love
awesome.
it.
That's awesome. So you got this musical history. You've been playing stuff. What got you to start making content?
I think it was. I mean, I'd always been doing comedy bits and videos and things like that. But it's like we were talking about before, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Like YouTube to a certain extent, but Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Like if you weren't already popping by a certain point and you didn't have money, it's hard to like have anything blow up, especially if
Mhm.
you're just figuring out how to do it. And so with TikTok, it was like, oh, there's this. I mean, it's musically it's been around for even longer, but like
Yeah.
TikTok felt like this brand new thing. It still is the Wild West. Like there's no rhyme or reason to TikTok yet.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and so it was like, well, if there's any time to go all in, this is the time, like, or any place to go all in, because at the time I was 29 years old and I was like, okay, I want to do comedy. I love comedy. I've been to LA for like went out there with the intention of moving out, went
Oh,
broke and
wow.
came back 3 months later.
Well, there's a story right there. There's a story right there. Holy cow.
It's a very depressing story, but it is a
Oh,
story
hey,
nonetheless.
man. Hey, man. That's the dream, right? Like I look, I respect people who even have that like, I mean,
Yeah.
who have that dream, who go out and they try to do something, man.
And I think that's kind of my philosophy in life, is that because I am not famous, I'm not the most successful person in the world, but I found ways to do for a long time now. I found the ways to do what I love and make enough money to pay my bills doing what I love. And so whenever anybody asks, like, how do you accomplish that? How do you do that? What are your tips? The only tip I have is just start doing it.
yeah.
And in whatever way that is, whether it's filming videos in your house, or it's if you have the freedom to do it, moving to Chicago, LA, or New York, or Atlanta, or wherever the thing is that it's happening, and go do it. And if you fail, you fail, but you gotta do it, because not doing it is not gonna nothing's going to happen. And that sounds trite, but like it really is so much about just doing, because I wasn't good when I went to LA. I was getting there, I was figuring things out, but going to LA taught me so much about the industry as a whole, about where my faults and flaws were as a person and as an entertainer. Like it taught me, because at that time I was just in a rap group, and we were fun and funny, and we would freestyle a little bit, but it was like there was nothing to make us stand out. We were in LA, where where some of the best rappers of all time started, and
Yeah.
even more great rappers were coming up as we were moving there. And
Sure.
so it was like, how do we stand out? So I was like, okay, so we're not going to I mean, I can make this music, but that's not how we're going to stand out right now, or that's not the niche I fill. And so we came back kind of with our heads down, tails tucked between our legs, but with lessons that we'd learned, because we toured all the way out there for gas money, and we toured back for selling t-shirts just to make enough to get back home. And so that taught me a lot. And not only did it teach me like lessons about how to be a performer, but it was also like some of the hardest times I've ever had in my entire life. So now anything else feels fine. Cause like, even
Yeah.
now, as when you're a performer, and like I get paid to perform, but you're not famous and you don't have the ability to like negotiate a rider or anything, you basically just, if they're writing the check, you take the check and you perform. And
Yep.
I performed when we got there. It was about to rain and it never rained, but they pulled the sound system because the tech guys at the school we were performing at were like, no sound system. So I borrowed someone's guitar, and my friend jumped on a bucket drum, and we did a show there. And it was like, the check cleared, we got some fans, we sold some shirts, and that's what we do. And you make fun of it afterwards, you laugh, you say, man, that was a really bad show. But at But at this point, you can throw all of that at me, and I know when a bad show is, and I know when a good show is, and sometimes
Yep.
you can turn a bad show into a good show, and vice versa. But it doesn't phase me the same way it used to, because I've already had the hardest times where in LA, no one cares about you. No, absolutely no one. And not that, it's the world. So not that not that they're even required to care about you, but everyone wants to do the exact same thing you want to do. So
Yep.
it's like, how are you going to stand out? Figure it out. You figure
Yeah.
it out. No
And they
one's
g-
going to help you along the way.
and they've got to put you down
Oh,
to
yes.
to get to where they want to be. It's just
Mhm.
it's cutthroat. I mean,
And even when you like we met a couple people who were incredibly kind and put us on shows that we had no business being on, but even then it was like that's the most they can do, because they're also trying to do the thing. And so if they get you on a show, and then it's like, you're on the show now, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to promote it? How are you going to make your money? How are you going to impress the crowd? And so from there on, it's your job and you're on your own. So I learned a lot from that. And yeah.
that's fantastic, man. Because I tell you what, people don't get that. There's so many people nowadays who feel like, okay, I'm talented, I've got some talent. People tell them that. I think, and sometimes that's the worst thing that can happen.
Oh yeah.
is for like
Just knowing it, believing it.
family and friends tell you you're talented, that that you've got something there, and then all of a sudden, like, people just expect the whole world to be kind of handed to them,
Yeah.
and they expect to just be able to make it or to be successful.
Mhm.
And they don't understand the time and the effort that has to be put into that. And I know, even for me, man, like my bands and stuff, I've been in a couple bands in my life, and we traveled around, we toured around, we put so many miles on this stinking you know vehicle that we had.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just like the thing was rotten out by the time it was
Yep.
done. You know what I mean? Just, in snowstorms, trying to, cut across states stuff, not knowing if you're going to make it, and end
Yep.
up in the lunch ditch,
Yeah.
whatever, in the lunch trench. It's just crazy stuff like that. And, like, honestly, so, I mean, um, I had some opportunities too, like, that I did some stuff. And what it taught me? It taught me what I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
It really did, because, like, everybody, like, thinks, like, especially when you're a musician and you're doing stuff, the thinking is, okay, I've got to make it,
Mhm.
right? Like, that's the goal, right? I want
Yeah.
to make it. And I realized through my experience, and maybe you can tell me what yours is, like, going through all that stuff. I realized, okay, I love music, I love making music content, whatever you want to call it. But also, I liked the idea of having my family. I didn't want to be away from everybody,
Yeah.
like, on a
Yeah.
regular basis. And once I tasted a little bit of that, it was like, I need, and I was about 29, 30 years old when it like it hit me. And I was just like, that's not, I've been pursuing this thing for so
Yeah.
long, and maybe that's not the way that I want to do it. So I need to
Yeah.
find a way to take my talents and what I do and still be able to use it and do what I've been put on this earth to do,
Yeah.
but in a way that it's going to be fulfilling.
Makes you happy. Yeah. That you
Yeah.
find satisfaction in. And yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think it teaches you so much. Like, because it has allowed me to know what I'm going to regret and what I'm not going to regret
Yes.
having done. Like, I went out, and I've even been back to LA for for a week or two rather than moving out there, and had really cool productive trips, cool meetings, cool shows, and that's great. But it it helps you have this confidence of like, okay, so now I know, like you said, what I want. And also helps like maybe where you it helps you innovate and be like, all right, so I want this thing. Now, how do I make it different from everybody else's thing? And how
Yes.
do I and what how do I differentiate myself? And so, like, I love freestyle rap. I love rap in general, but I also felt this like desire to just do other comedic things. And that's what TikTok was like. Even before, I mean, my fan base has taken off a lot during the pandemic, obviously, because everyone's just kind of on whatever they're on
Yeah.
to stay sane. But even before that, I mean, I was doing, and I still love like writing sketch and doing small sketch bits and musical things and just a mix of all of that. And so even though I make most of my money from doing freestyle rap, it's like I'm also finding so much fulfillment in just other comedy things that I really enjoy, and so I don't mind grinding, and like trying new things out and working hard to, not that the goal is not, I don't even have a goal with TikTok because it's just a fun place, and it's cool that there are people that are listening, and if I can turn that into something down the line, great, that'd be awesome.
Mhm.
But it's I in the worst times, I fall victim to, like, I have a couple friends. I don't know if you've ever seen Ben Brainerd. He's the guy who does all the states. Like, he does when the state boardroom meeting sketches. He,
Yes, yes, yes. I
yeah,
have seen that. Yeah.
he started about a month after I started TikTok, and he has 1.5 million TikTok followers. And so, like, you struggle with that. Oh man, I want to do that. And it's like, but you don't do that. He does
Yeah.
like political and current events news through sketch. And it's like, that's not what you're good at. You write songs about trivia, pop culture, and some current event stuff in the songs, but it's like,
Yeah.
that's not what you do. So just do the thing that you do, and people, if people like it, great, and more people will come as time goes on. And so it's definitely helped me not only find what I love, but feel comfortable in doing the things that I love, whether they're getting a following or not, or
Yeah.
whether they're growing the way I want them to grow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but you mentioned a couple times, like, I'm not famous or whatever, but I mean, you're definitely you've gained some notoriety on TikTok, and
Yes,
you've had
yeah. I don't
success.
want to downplay how appreciative I am of the people who do follow me, because it really
Yeah.
has been. I've gotten some really, like, cool. I'm starting to get some cool opportunities from it, which is amazing. But also, it's so funny that, like, I was just scrolling through, and I saw a guy with a video, and I clicked on his thing. I had never seen him before. I've been on TikTok for over a year now. 16 million followers.
I know, man.
And it's crazy, and it's dope, because it's like, man, I feel like, oh, maybe everybody who's ever seen my videos is going to see my videos. And then it's like, oh, no, no, no. There's 16 million other people that could either find your stuff, or maybe they don't like your stuff, but the pool is so much bigger than you think
Yes.
it is.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes you get in your own head. Now, I mean, you've got like 120,000 followers here. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm looking at your TikTok, page right now. And I mean, dude, that's nothing to sneeze at, man. That's a lot of hard work, and that's
I
some cool
appreciate it,
stuff,
man.
man. That's
Yeah,
some
and
cool
I
stuff.
really do appreciate every, the opportunity that provides me.
Well, I
And
mean, come on, you're here at the Poindexter Lounge,
oh,
man.
exactly.
Like the
Look,
most prestigious of
I would
all places.
this is what I work for. This is every day I dreamed about talking with Enosh Fett on the Poindexter Lounge, baby. I wake up in
Absolutely.
the morning, start writing songs, and it's like I do my kiss and I'm on my poster, my Poindexter Lounge poster that's right next to my bed. My
Yes.
wife tells me to quit putting it up by the bed, but I put it up by the bed every time she tears it down. Little smoochy on the way out, and that's
Oh,
my motivation for the day.
well, that makes me feel good, man, because that's it.
It should.
No, it's funny you mentioned, because like you get in your own head, right? And it's like, you put out content, and that's things like we put out a lot of content, and like I'll have so many people, and maybe you hear this, maybe you don't, but like I'll have people come to the channel, and like they'll be like, man, this is so good. Like they love it, they connect with it, and they're just like, man, how don't you have more subscribers? Right. And I'm just like, I don't know. Why don't you tell somebody? Like,
Yeah.
like, please tell somebody that we're here, because it's like when people find us, they like us. And
Yes.
it's like, oh man. And then, and then it's like you see something else that is like absolutely ridiculous and stupid. And you're like,
Yeah.
what the heck? How do these how? I'm like busting
Yeah.
my butt.
I'm
And
working so hard.
oh, and it's not even about it's not about like the subs. I mean, it is, but it's
Yeah.
not, you know what I mean? It's not even about that. You just look at some stuff and you just go,
Just like, why? What have I
oh,
not figured? It makes you think, am I crazy that I think,
yeah,
am I crazy that, like, not that I think I'm the greatest or anything, but it's like,
yeah,
am I insane to think that what I'm doing is something that people want to see?
yeah.
Because
Should I
if
stop?
this is what people want, if this is what people want, then I'm in the wrong bit. I'm doing the wrong thing. So,
Yes. Yes. We talked,
but
we actually do a show here, Jordan, called 2 Cents on Nonsense. And because obviously I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and there's in the Star Wars community. I don't know how big of a Star Wars fan you are.
I am like a middling. I enjoy Star Wars.
Okay.
I read some of the. I mean, I even read some of the books when I was a kid. Some of like the Jedi books when I was a kid. I can't even tell you which ones. But so I'm like maybe just above average Star Wars fan, but I do enjoy Star Wars.
But it's so funny because like once you start doing something and you like people come to you for that thing, right? And it's funny because I'm such a huge Star Wars fan, and I know so much about Star Wars, and then like we were talking about earlier, like you get these people like who start saying stuff about it that it's like absolutely not true, and it's weird because there's these people in the community, like there's literally a guy, and you like talk about rap, right? So like I did like this rap song about this guy, like I literally made a persona based on this other guy, like his name is Mike Zero, and he started off as this kind of like this awkward guy who just made videos like about Star Wars. It wasn't even just about Star Wars, like pop culture and stuff. And then at some point he found a turning point where like his Star Wars content was starting to like blow up around the time that The Force Awakens came out. And it was like, now I'm going to dedicate my entire channel just to this. And the problem was that then he just started dedicating his channel to like making stuff up about Star Wars.
Fun.
Right. And so people, but there's people like there's people who believe this stuff. And like, he tells us stuff. So I actually made a character named Mark Uno. And instead of Mike Zero, and so like I did a song called Lies, like like talking about like all the stuff that he made up and stuff. Like I would love for you to see it, man, because
dude, I will absolutely pick it out.
But you gotta have context, right, for like who this guy is, like the way that he presents himself and everything. And so we started doing this show called 2 Cents on Nonsense, because what I started finding out was there was just all these people just making stuff up, like like literally they had no context for anything. And it's funny when you get into fandoms and you get into stuff and you see like and that's my thing, like with Mike, for example, like he's literally making stuff up, and he's got like over 200,000 subscribers, right? And you just go, what in the world? And it's like some people will be like, oh, you're just jealous. It's like, no, I'm not jealous. I'm just asking how. It's like, but at the end of the day, you have to focus on yourself, and you have to focus on, okay, like, what am I going to do? And then that's when I realized, like, it didn't matter. Like, look, I'd love to have a ton of subscribers, right? We're coming up on like 10,000 subscribers.
That's great.
And that's awesome.
Compared to my 290 subscribers, you're working it, man. You're working.
But that's things I realized we just got to be us.
Yeah.
Right. We just got to be us, man. Don't be worried about everybody else. Just be worried about your content, put out your content, do your thing. And even if it's commenting on other things, that's fine, but do it well, and make it fun. Do it, make it, have it fun. So
you said something that I want to go back to, just because I'm working on a sketch about this. It's either going to be a song or a sketch. I'm not sure. You said like people in your comments like, why aren't you bigger? Why aren't you this? Right, you're that. Which is like one of the least helpful questions. And I like what it means. You have to take it as a compliment, because what it means coming from them is something different than what you hear in your ears, which is like, I know. And so there's just a list of helpful questions that people ask. The other one is as doing comedy, everyone's like, oh, have you ever thought about doing SNL? Have you ever thought about being on SNL or like doing music or freestyle? Have you guys ever thought about doing America's Got Talent? If only I had thought about being on one of the most popular television shows of all time. Good and so what they mean is, you are so good, you should be on the show. But when they ask you the question, how do you answer that other than, I think about it every day. I think about something akin to that every second of every day.
Yes. And if you know someone, that's what I usually say. Like, and if you know someone, hook a brother up. That's like you could just call up SNL and be like, hey, it's Jordan from Itskeyes. Yeah. You may not know this, but I'm kind of a big deal, and I've got this TikTok channel, and Yeah, people told me that I should be on SNL.
Listen,
So
I don't know if you've heard of Geekmaster 99, but he thinks I should be on your show. So
oh, Geekmaster 99. Hold on.
here's my
Shut the whole thing down.
address. Just send the contracts over, and I'll see if I can fit it in my schedule, Lauren. We'll see if I can make it happen, man.
Oh, man. That's funny. Because it's so true. It's so true.
And so, and I don't want to like put down anyone who says that because I know what they told. Know exactly what they mean, but then I also know what my incredibly insecure entertainer brain is thinking at the same time.
That's awesome. Now you mentioned that you're married.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So how does what does your wife think of your success and the stuff that you do?
I do not want to say this to put my wife in a negative light, but she could almost not care less, which is exactly what I need. Because I do, like, I was, we talked about it a little bit earlier. I was the oldest child. I was, gifted student, national merit scholar, had all of the things of people saying, you're special, you're smart, you can do this. And so to this day, I believe that, I've learned how to work hard, but I'm also like, I should just be, and the things should be easier for me. And my wife is very good at saying, well, let's bring you back down to, not that she's knocking me down a peg, but make sure that my head's not in the clouds, make sure that I'm not expecting things that I don't deserve. And so when it comes to TikTok, it's like she's sort of just getting into TikTok because her job she runs her job's TikTok account now, and is like and I'm helping her create content for that and stuff like that. But up until that point, she was just like, she thinks I'm funny enough, but she doesn't think I'm hilarious. So she's always like, I'll run something by her, and if she thinks it's funny, if she laughs, I'm like, this one's gonna be a banger now. This is absolutely gonna be a banger. And usually it works out. She's got a very good got a very good eye for what people are going to enjoy, and a very good intuition for what is things like, if people with your sense of humor will enjoy this, and then there's the things where it's like, I think lots of people will enjoy this. And so I just have I clearly I don't listen all the time because I put out stuff that only I enjoy, and I'm very okay with that. But yeah, no, she also helps run like the improv comedy. She's the admin and does all the emails and management basically for our improv group that we started. And so she's very supportive. I don't want it to sound like she's not supportive. She just doesn't care about the performance side of it. She's like, yeah, you're good. Okay, so what are you doing with it? What are you are you putting food on the table? Are you? And so that's, until TikTok's putting food on the table, that's when she'll really care about TikTok.
I hear you. Well, no, it's good that we have people who ground us too.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That they keep us grounded, that like you said, keep our head from being up in the clouds somewhere, and bring us back down to earth to make us understand what's important.
And I mean, a lot of the opportunities that I have are because she was like, did you do this thing? You said you wanted to put together this video. Like, the reason our improv company is a thing is because we got a contract to perform at Disney Springs in Orlando.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so it's the best thing that's ever happened to us. It was the springboard for every entertaining thing I've done that has ever been profitable or even marginally successful. And it was the day of, and I hadn't done anything to like submit our video. And she was like, just do it. Because I was like, I don't have good footage. I don't know if this is what they're looking for. And she was like, just do it, because you're gonna be like, you might be sad if they say no or you don't hear from them, but you're gonna be more sad wondering what would have happened if you'd done it. We did. And so she was like, she's like, take 2 hours, put together a video. If it's bad, what's the worst going to happen? You send it to them and they never talk to you again, just like they have already been doing. And so you can continue to not have a relationship with Disney, just like you have for the prior 20 years of your life. And so, yeah, so like, she's really in that reality and that grounding. There's elements that have just really helped me in my entertainment career, and things where she's like, I'll get an email from somebody and they'll be like, can we negotiate on the price, or can we do this? And that makes me incredibly nervous because I want everyone to like me all the time. And so I don't want to tell people like, I can't do it for less than this, not because this is what my ego says, but because I have to pay for gas or a flight or a hotel. And she's so good at just being like, it's business. They will understand. And if they don't understand, they weren't who you wanted to do business with anyway.
So
And
true,
so
man.
having that voice in my head and having her there to both knock me down a peg, but then also lift me up to when I need to be doing things has been invaluable in my entertainment career, as much as she doesn't think I'm that funny.
That's awesome, man. And people don't understand that about like people who are creative and doing things, right? Because it's hard. It's when you're trying to do stuff yourself and you're putting yourself out there, and it's like you want to do things for people, you want to be a part of stuff, you want to get your name out there and everything. But like there's the old adage, like, will you do it for exposure? Right. And it's like, oh man, and it's like it comes to a point,
and I did 4 years of exposure.
Exactly.
And now I cannot go back. I cannot go back to exposure.
And it's hard because at some point you do have to say, like, look, it's not that I think I'm just the greatest thing and I'm above everything, but also you're asking for my time. You're asking for, and especially the older we get, we have priorities, we have families, we have people in our lives, and people don't think about the time that you're taking away from that. They see the on stage persona. They just see, hey, you're having fun. And if you're doing something that makes you happy and you're having fun, well, you should just enjoy doing that. And it's like, well, I do, but I also need to have this make sense, because otherwise I'm not being responsible.
Exactly. I'm not, I'm doing a disservice, not to me, but to the people who rely on me or need me, or even just want me around, that are important to me, to do it, to do it for free, or to do it for something that's just not going to work out in the long run.
But I totally hear you, man. Cause like people don't understand the pressure that goes on you trying to then put a price on that.
Yeah. Because you're an entertainer, and your soul, no matter what you're doing in entertainment, you are the product. You need to be liked. People need to like you to want to book you, to want to hear from you, to want to see you. And so then it's like, I want you to like me so bad, but I also have to say no. Like, or I have to say it can't be for less than this, or I can't do it. And it's for someone who thrives off positive feedback.
Well, Jordan, I mean, like, dude, I feel like we just scratched the surface of who you are and what you're doing. I mean, and I know that we've gone on for a while, but I would be remiss if I let this time. And we got to have you back. I'd love to have you.
Let me know, man.
Like, I'd love to have you jump in, maybe even on some of our conversations or something sometime, and just talk about stuff. I'd love to know. I'd love to know like what your nerd stuff is. Like what are those things that get you going, because
for me, like, I'm a huge just comedy nerd, like sketch comedy and TV comedy. Are like, I'm a huge nerd as far as that goes. I love to pick apart and really dig into what makes a thing funny and why I'm laughing at this, and also to find like new stuff that is like, okay, this is really funny, but no one's doing anything quite like this, or this is related to something from 30 years ago, but they're just doing the new version of it. And so I'm very nerdy about SNL. I'm very and Key and Peele and Monty Python, Fry and a bit of Fry and Laurie, like British sketch stuff that was going back to the 60s and 50s, and like that's something I'm very nerdy about. And it's like I said, there's a lot of things that I know a little bit about, and I think part of that comes from being doing Quiz Bowl. I don't know if you had it. I did Quiz Bowl middle school and high school, and so for that, it's like 3 facts about everything, but you don't know. But if it's beyond those 3 facts, it's like,
don't have a clue.
Best guess.
I love
comedy. It's so it sucks because it's like so meta to want to do comedy, but you're also, the main thing you're interested in is comedy. So like, you have to struggle to not make comedy about comedy, because then you're the Ouroboros. You're the snake eating its own tail at that point.
I love sketch comedy. I love like I mean, you just mentioned SNL, and it's funny because me and my wife, we still to this day, man, I watch SNL
Yep.
And people are just like, how can you watch it? It's so bad. And it's this, and it's like, I will watch episode after episode
Yep.
of Saturday Night Live just for that golden sketch that's just good.
It's like being a fan of the Knicks or being a fan of a bad sports team.
I'm
It's
in
like,
Michigan, man. So yeah, so it's like being a fan of the Detroit Lions, dude.
yes, and so you're a fan for those bright spots, and you're
Yeah.
also a fan for the times when they were great, or
That's
what
like remember Barry Sanders?
Exactly.
Yeah, he was here once.
And that's the exact same way. You guys remember Will Ferrell? Do you remember Kristen
Yes.
Wiig? Do you remember Andy Samberg? Like
Oh man,
that's why I still love SNL, even if I don't like most of the sketches. And the thing is, if you go back and watch it, most of the sketches were always bad. There was always,
Yes.
maybe 1 or 2 sketches per episode.
Yes.
And where it was truly great or truly good, and you just block it out. And so,
Yep.
that it's the same thing is happening today. It's just, and so I'm definitely nerdy about comedy, and I'm also nerdy about like pop punk music. That's
Nice.
I love Reliant K. I love Blink 182. I love, and so like those are the 2 things that I would say inform what I do most from the nerdy side.
Nice. Well, man. Like I said, just getting to know you a little bit better. Like I'm digging everything you're throwing down, brother. I'm digging it, man. It's really cool. But I would be remiss if we had you on the channel after all that we have enjoyed of your content, if we didn't have you do a couple of things for us live, man.
All right.
I see you got your guitar there, man.
I got my guitar, my git fiddle.
So ladies and gentlemen, this is kind of first we did. I have to tell you this, Jordan. We had this impromptu thing, like, because I hang out with all these guys online who are all musicians and stuff, and so like we had a night that all of a sudden like people started just bringing out guitars. I don't even know how it happened. That wasn't even the video. It wasn't even the thing. Like, but I didn't have my acoustic with me, and so like I brought out one of my electric guitars and I plugged it in, and I didn't even know that it was like all distorted and everything. And so like I'm playing along, and we're all trying to sing to each other, and of course it's on StreamYard, so there's a delay and everything, and it was horrible.
Beautiful.
Yeah, people were loving it. And I said we
great.
actually have to have a day where we get people together. But that's where I brought my my buddy Dawson in, and he's got a channel called Nerdy in Many Ways. And we were joking because we've been teasing him that he reminds us of you. And when we play your videos and stuff, and people also we've been joking because he's got like his own like hat and everything. I got his hat, and so like I don't usually wear glasses, but I've been joking that I'm like him from the future. So like what I think we've discovered here is I'm the older one.
Okay.
You're the one who's just younger than me.
Yeah.
And then Dawson is the younger version.
Beautiful.
So the multiverse is crashing. Yes. But it was funny because
we're looping.
Yes. Dawson went off air for a minute when we had that night, and he comes back and he sang the Toaster song, dude.
Yes.
And totally surprised.
That's the benefit of me not being a great musician, me knowing just enough chords to play exactly what I need to play.
Don't sell yourself short, man. He went off, and like we were like, where's Dawson? Where'd he go? And he comes back and he's like, I've been thinking about blowing up my toaster. And I was just like,
that's beautiful.
Oh, this is awesome. So it was part of the inspiration for like, I was like, I gotta have this guy on. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is kind of a first. We're gonna even because like I haven't done a lot of this stuff even on the channel. Ladies and gentlemen, I turn it over now to Jordan. Itskeyes. Give us a little something, man.
All right, I'm gonna give you the hits first. All right. All over town, people are talking about the lunch trench. It's the trench where you can eat your food.
Yes, that's awesome.
And then I can do the OG, you know. I've been thinking about blowing up my toaster, but how would I make my bread hot and hard at the same time? See, I messed that up. That's see, I bet Dawson has it even better than me right now.
Dude, I do that same thing to myself. Like I'll do something, I'll be like, who wrote this song? I wrote this song.
Oh, me? Yeah. I do have one longer one that I want to play for you.
Absolutely.
All right. Absolutely. So this is one I found out that and I posted this on TikTok, but I found out that Oreo had created a vault where they were storing Oreos in case of an apocalyptic event. And so I tried to imagine. I'm a huge fan of a band called the Mountain Goats. I don't know if you've ever listened to Mountain Goats, but they're a really great folk band that started in the 90s recording on like a 4-track tape cassette, and in the most indie underground pretentious fan kind of thing to enjoy. But they do their or it's one guy basically with like a revolving cast of bandmates, and he just writes these very like esoteric songs, and he's the one who inspired me to start singing and playing guitar, because he doesn't have a traditionally great voice either, but he figured it out. And so this is kind of based on that, about the Oreo Vault. So
Nice.
The radiation clouds have dissipated, the continents have split along their faults. The world is gone and it's washed away, but we're looking for the Oreo Vault. We commandeer a tanker, head for Norway. The taste of ashes mixed with ocean salt. That apocalyptic tang will soon be washed away if we make it to the Oreo Vault.
Nice.
Tiny plastic treasures wrapped in Mylar. I hope to God they help us to remember a time before our bodies glowed like distant stars. We're lucky if we make it past September. It's been 15 years since the bomb stopped flying. Our irradiated dog team lets our sled grind to a halt like a city on a hill that won't stop shining. We stand before the Oreo Vault.
That's awesome. I feel like I'm watching a show, like a private show, dude, because like I know all these songs. Seriously, man. I've gone through your TikTok so much and just like enjoyed all this stuff, and like literally trying to like just trying to be like, man, how can I show this guy's like just the best stuff? And then I'm like, it's all so funny. Like seriously, man. And I don't say that to like pander to you at all. I want you to know that. Like, I really mean that. Your stuff is just that funny. Like, one of my favorite things, and I'm going to play this because it's not a song, but I love when somebody does something or says something that you go, oh yeah. I've always wondered, like this right here.
Man, that was great, but I think that pancake stack could have been a little bigger.
Are you kidding? I'm stuffed. Oh, actually, I have to go. Do you remember if you pay here or do you go up to the desk? Here at Breakfast Diner Chain, you'll never know where to pay.
That's just, I mean, the first time I saw that, I'm like, yeah, like how many times and that's the best stuff, man, is when it relates, right? Like when it hits home,
and that's something that TikTok is so great for, is because you're constrained to a minute. It's like, how do I boil this idea or this feeling or this experience down to less than a minute? And I love it. You know, even some of the dumb things where it's like that they probably made this in 30 seconds. I don't begrudge them that if I relate to it, or if it's like, that's just funny. There's just, sometimes you don't have to put a lot of work in. You just have to be like, hey, you know this thing? Why?
Yes. Well, I tell you what, man, it has been a pleasure talking to you today and just getting to know you a little bit. Like I said, I'd love to have you on at some point when we do like one of our live streams or whatever, and just have you come in and introduce you to some of the guys that we stream with, because they would like, and maybe not even tell them that you're coming, because I think that they would just absolutely get a kick out of it, especially if we got Dawson around, because I don't know if you see our hats. These are his hats, we joke, because he's got the channel Nerdy in Many Ways, and great. So we joke with him. I call it Nimwa, or I call it not was it not inside my Winnebago or something like that. Like we come up with like all these different things for his acronym, great. And so we'll have to send you like a Nimwa hat.
Please,
and then just like
have you Dawson from the
you pop in, because like I've done that like to him, and like popped in his show and been like, Dawson, I've come back in time. I've got to warn you, man. This is what happens. Like and like we'll be on a stream sometime, and he'll say something, and I'll be like, this is the moment, Dawson. This is the moment that this happened, or whatever. And so we have a lot of fun with that. Well, hey, man, Jordan, it's been a pleasure. It's been a good time, man.
Thanks so much, man.
You're a good guy. Tell everybody where people can find you.
All right, find me on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Itskeyes, ITSKEYES. You can find me on YouTube. It's youtube.com/TheAirJordan, TheHeirJordan. I made that channel years ago, and I probably should make a new one. But that's where I'm posting a lot of my content, or even content that it doesn't fit under a minute that I've made. So you can go there as well. I'm trying to kind of just build that up because I'd like to do longer form stuff as well. But yeah, those are the main places to find me. Oh, and free daps everywhere. If you're interested in freestyle rap or rap in general, we have FREEDAPS, 2 words. Find us. We have music on Spotify. We actually have a Christmas project that's like 6 songs of comedy and just Christmas rap. So that's a lot of fun, and it's, it is the season. Go check that out as well. And yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me on.
Well,
man.
we'll make sure to put all of those links down in the description so that people can find you really easy. And yeah, go subscribe. Go subscribe to this guy, man, because Jordan is hilarious. He's doing some good, and I'm definitely a proponent of when you see somebody doing something positive and having fun, support that. And that's why we wanted to have you here on the channel. And so
thanks, man.
So I'm glad that you responded, because I reach out to so many people and they're like, who, what?
Well, I mean, I barely check my Instagram, so like every week I'll be like, okay, so there's 2 actual messages that are important, that are things that I should respond to. So I'm glad I caught yours before Instagram like put it under some other message, because I
know how that goes. I know how that goes. Well, good, man. I know how that goes for sure. Well, hey guys, like I said, go support Jordan and send us some love and tell him that you found him through the Poindexter Lounge or whatever. And
thank you.
And we'll definitely have you back sometime soon.
Thanks,
guys.
so much,
It's like I always say, you know what? Don't let anybody tell you that that your fandom doesn't matter, that your nerddom doesn't matter, that your thing isn't important enough or whatever. You know what? Here's the thing, is we all have different things that we love. We all have different things that make us who we are. And whether or not we're singing about the lunch trench or the Oreo vault, or, you know what, just hanging out and talking about pop culture or whatever, or just everything that makes us tick. Those are all important things, and you guys matter. And so, you know what, whatever your fandom is, don't put down somebody else's fandom. Don't act like they don't matter either. And as long as you show respect to one another and you treat people right, there'll always be a place for you in the Poindexter Lounge, and for you, Jordan. There'll always be a place for you here, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, man. All right. Now you've made it. You've been on the Poindexter Lounge. The poster could stay up. You could tell your wife, look, I've actually been on there now.
Yep. The fan mail is going to come rolling in. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Well,
man.
I'll tell you what, my Itskeyes poster is definitely up in the other room. So
thank you.
All right,
thank
guys, until next time, my name is Enosh, aka Enosh Vet, saying stay nerdy and stay good to each other. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.